Hi folks, very warm welcome to another KNX webinar session today with THEBEN. My name is Elmar and I will convey you through the next heading couple of minutes. What's the content of today? So I will make you acquainted with our reasonable, let's say, latest news, the highlights in 2022. I assume and I'm pretty sure that you know THEBEN company, located here in the south of Germany, and we are well known as manufacturer and developer here in Germany. Our actuators are well known for their extreme high switching capacity and extreme high inrush ratings. So especially when it comes to control, to manage all the stuff around LEDs. You know probably that we do have some gateways in regards of DALI, in regards of heating, however, and definitely you know that THEBEN is really powerful in regards of presence sensors. Why? THEBEN HTS, our daughter company in Switzerland, has been the very first developing presence sensors starting in the late 1980s finally. So you find a lot of competence in our company. Let's get started with. So let's starting with flush mounted actuators. So what we did, we did a certain, let's say, upgrade in terms especially on the function. You discover here a specific new flush mounted actuator which we developed specifically for e-heatings, electro heatings. So for the bathrooms, for the floor heatings, which are electrical driven finally. Really powerful, so we talk about 16 amps of switching capacity, and it is a controller on its own. So that means if you apply here on this side the reasonable temperature probe, so it's a fancy little probe you discover hardly here, and if you apply here on this actuator and do the reasonable, let's say, application settings. So this fancy small flush mounted actuator is a controller on its own, discrete, you can hide it somewhere flush mounted, and that's it. We did another, let's say, upgrade for our RF flush mounted actuators. So we could achieve finally that the, let's say, range of data transmissions and transmission power finally we could increase tremendously. So that means in regards of, let's say, receptions in a room or in a building or outside of a building, however, we could achieve a lot, and this upgrade was really reasonable. And all these, let's say, flush mounted actuators, so these are supporting data secure. The flush mounted actuators before and the RF as well. Okay, so in here we do have as well the same one, so this electrical heating flush mounted actuator, so supporting the same function, the same application, but communicating on RF base, RF secure. For that purpose you need here this media coupler finally, and the communication is finally done with RF, with the 868 frequency, communicating in secure mode. This is brand new and this electrical heating actuator is absolutely unique in the market currently. We have got a lot of demands for that application and for that product. Ideal for that purpose if you intend, for instance, to control, let's say, a towel heater or so, and you want to have the control discrete. Put it in a flush box and it fits perfectly. I will show you here. So you see, this is the actuator finally. This is standard size of a flush box, and that's it. And here on the side, you do have the reasonable interface where you can apply this temperature probe in order to control it. This temperature probe, you just glue somewhere on the cover from the flash box and done. That's it. So this is the small temperature probe, ideal for retrofitting. Yeah, well, we did a really big step because probably you know our mix actuators in our product range. Mix means you have a master unit equipped with the reasonable communication to the bus. You discover here the interface. This flap you can open, and then you can apply another extension and another extension. So that means you can do a kind of master-slave function. So that means this is the master unit, this is the first slave, this is the other one, communicating here with a reasonable interface. This we do have since more than 10 years. Probably you know that we do have in the front flap here, so we do have here the BCU, and this BCU you can take out from the first hour of production of this product. Now we did an upgrade. So that means if you do have an existing project with our actuators and you want or you have to upgrade this system to data secure, okay, don't hesitate. We do have the new latest generation with this BCU you can discover here exactly in the picture. So, and this BCU is supporting data secure communication. So what does it mean? You can relieve the existing actuators and their extensions. However, you have just to replace this BCU, which you can get as a spare part from our sales reps. Well, and then there is no way around. You have to download the latest database of the mix actuator, which are supporting data secure, and then you can go ahead with the programming and you have integrated an existing system into data secure. The flexibility is unbelievable, so that means you have the choice starting with an actuator, whatever you want. Here in this example, we do have 8-volt switching actuator, 8-volt 16 amps of switching capacity. The first extension in this case here, in this example, is a binary input and followed by a heating actuator, 6-volt, but we do have shading, dimming, and further on, yeah. And you can mix it however you like it. You see here some of their representatives, dimming, shading, heating, integration, and furthermore, I just focus on a few of the products, and this you can mix however you like it, yeah. And this is highest flexibility, room-oriented solution, and by the way, you save some costs. And finally, they are communicating now with data secure. Well, let's go ahead. In regards of, let's say, temperature control, and I'm pretty sure that you have faced in the market our Cheops drive and Cheops control, so pretty well known with the THEBEN brand. You discovered probably some with another brand, however, we are the manufacturer and the developer, however. And this one is the latest update, which we do have in real. It looks really like that, so really a eye candy. And from, let's say, his application, first of all, okay, be reminded again, data secure. So wherever we launch a new product in the market, they all will support you with data secure communication. Yeah, well, so we do have here the reasonable, let's say, powerful drive, and this drive is unbelievable because the maximum of the actuating force we have increased up to 220 Newton meter. It's unbelievable. So, and this puts you in the position that you can drive even big-sized motor-driven valves in big industrial, let's say, areas and applications. How to handle? You see there's a flap, you have just to open, pull down the unlocker, put it finally on the valve. We do have here different adapters available, however, and then press the locker up, close the flap. If you like, you can lock the flap for unauthorized, let's say, modifications, however. And you discover definitively here, so these small stripes, and these small stripes are LEDs, which gives you a reasonable feedback. So how is the current status of the position finally? There is an integrated temperature sensor inside, so that means this Cheops S is able to control on his own. So that means he measures the room temperature and controls finally the degree of the valve, how wide he has to open or how wide he has to close finally the valve. That's it. Yeah. An additional added value we do have is the window contact. So that means directly here you do have the option finally that you can apply. You see here probably we do have here a few different cables, and one of these is the window contact. So that means if you open the window to do, let's say short ventilation or so, so then the heating automatically stops to avoid that energy, warmth energy is, let's say, evaporating and distributed through the open window. However, well, nice picture. Yeah, the focus is not on the pillow. The focus is here on the new designs, the new colors specifically, so ideal for modern buildings, so to adapt to the reasonable, let's say, wallpaper or to the reasonable, let's say, material on your wall. However, so you discover here now we have upgraded white, silver, black with display, without any display, room controller inside, however, so it's your choice finally. And by the way, so the LED colors you can adjust to, and probably you can adjust it in such a way that it fits to the wallpaper or to the color of your wall, however. And you can implement a few more, let's say, applications. We did some upgrades here in the room temperature controller. And by the way, I want to remark that the Eon series, specifically the Eon 108, is able to support you with app control. So that means we do have here inbuilt Bluetooth low energy communication. This puts you in the position, whatever is configured in the room controller, you want to control with this controller up to 20 different functions. Control shutters, blinds, dimming, call up scenarios, show up any kind of values, whatever. So all what is finally from KNX side programmed here in the Eon, you just have to link in via Bluetooth communication, type in the pin code, and then directly you get copy the entire function from the Eon on the app. You have nothing more to do. It couldn't be easier, yeah? And this is something which is really specific and absolutely comfortable. Yeah, you heard at the beginning, so THEBEN HGS specifically is the first one developing motion or presence detectors, yeah? And we do have here the latest news in regards of, let's say, presence or motion detectors. We do have two different types, and it's your choice what you want to use. So I do have here just a nice picture which gives you an impression how nice it looking like. We did have got an award for the reasonable design. The sensor you discover here probably so a small stripe which is which could be orientation light, which the presence detector has. And finally this here, this is an inbuilt push button which enables you finally or puts you in a position that you can on off, override, hold, dim up, and another toggle, for instance, you can dim down. However, it's up to you. So we do have here fancy different functions. And by the way, so we do have here as well different frame sets, so that we can easily and perfectly adapt to, let's say, other designs which are available in the market. But I want to remark, the detecting area is huge, I tell you. So you see, you discover here this detecting area. So up to 17 meters. So if you walk across in front of the sensor, it's huge. If you go ahead to the sensor, we talk about 10 meters. And in regards of the width of the sensor, we talk about 14 meters. So it's a perfect solution finally for any kind of corridors, however. And okay, sure, you know, you can add a few more, so you can do master slave. So if you want to extend the detecting area, if for instance you do have to design and to set up a long corridor with a reasonable, let's say, sensors. What are furthermore added values? We do have here inbuilt a temperature probe. So that means if you like to tap the temperature from the corridor, so we do have here all abilities. There is a communication object available for you. So we do have here as well logic links if required. We do have here as well some, let's say, binary inputs. So I take here this, let's say, example here. And we do have here different binary inputs which you may use. The application is up to you. So we have a huge application and you can do whatever you like. You can integrate whatever you like with this way to integrate. Okay? So quite smart and smooth. I've announced at the beginning, so we are pretty good in regards of DALI gateways, yes, well. And we have a new product which we have added. This is on the left-hand side, KNX DALI dimmer, broadcast dimmer. And this I want to focus firstly on. So that means we do have, for instance, here an option to implement LED lights which require data or data point 8 communication. So with this broadcast dimmer, we can support you at its best. So that means you can, if you like, apply channel 1 to tunable white. Channel 2 you can adjust or set up to control any kind of lights. Channel 3, for instance, are just or only monochrome lights. And if you want to control, for instance, a DALI relay for kind of ventilation or whatever, so do so. Don't hesitate. So channel-wise, you have to specify in the application what you want to have. And you have only, and you see here, just only 2 terminals which you have to apply to the DALI bus communication. And it works. It couldn't be easier. So that means in terms of services, so that means replacement. If a light is broken or so, you just replace the light. That's it. No configuration, no integration, nothing else. You just replace it and done. Well, and what is the purpose of these push buttons here? So with these push buttons, anytime you can do a manual override in steps of 25%. So plus, you are increasing, minus, you are decreasing the reasonable light value. That's it. Yeah. Added with a LED, which gives you a certain, let's say, feedback. Yeah, which status we currently are. And sure, it couldn't be different. We support you as well with data secure. So you discover whenever it comes. So with the new products from THEBEN, we do support data secure. Yeah, and as well in regards of, let's say, different types of LEDs are all across the world. Some are communicating on DALI, some, or a lot of them are communicating on DALI for sure, but there are plenty of them which you have to drive with 0 to 10 volt or 1 to 10 volt. However, you need a passive or active control, however, and we have here developed or upgraded our former dimmer to the latest, let's say, requirements from the market. And with this one here, we do have any kind of, or all kind of options. Finally, you discover here as well, there are relays inside, yeah, and the control output. However, so extreme high flexibility, which we can offer to you, and specifically to control such, or for instance, to control dampers in airing system or ventilation systems. However, so there is a huge application which is behind your choice what you want to use or how you want to use it finally. And you see the green icon supporting as well data secure. Yeah, well, and I want to remind you to an absolutely perfect and brilliant development which we did is Typixon. Typixon, the latest version you get now with 24 volt. So that means just a piece of cable, so the bus cable is sufficient to apply directly on the Typixon, on this first optical sensor. The white and the yellow one, there you support 24 volt DC, which you have to apply to the sensor, and done. So easy installation. Well, but what makes this sensor so specific? This sensor finally supports you with a digital, let's say digital detection, zone-wise. You see here, you can specify with the assistance of THEBEN app, to the Typixon app. And here you can specify finally up to 6 zones which you want to control. You discover here these white corners here, and this you hold, and with a finger you push or you pull, however, to the right position, and that's it. With this pencil symbol here, you can, if you like, give this area a specific name, and again, up to 6 different zones you can control. Well, okay, so far sounds good. But what you can do with the different zones? Well, with the different zones, you can control I/O, light control, you can do constant light control, so daylight dependent control. However, you can count the amount of people in that zones, in that areas, and you can create, if you like, some reasonable heat maps. So that means that you see where is the most or the highest gathering of people during a specific period of time. If you want, for instance, to manage the service stuff, so the cleaning stuff, for instance, in airports or in industrial areas, however, so for that purposes, or for instance, to do the reasonable good positioning in warehouses and shops, however, you can set, so starting from till, how long is the duration finally, and then the sensor is counting, so how many people have been positioned, for instance, here in that area here. You can do, for instance, let's say the optimizing of the setup in the room or in your company, however. So these are some of the few options finally which you may use. Okay, you got it? And I will give you some insights in terms of so how you have to imagine this clear bordering, this digital bordering here. And for that purpose, we did have prepared a specific small video to give you a reasonable impression. Get started here. So you see here on top, the first light sector starts. You go to the next sector, which is here. So the next reasonable light zone have been started. You discover here, this light zone here is going to start to dim down again because there is nobody here in the zone, maximum of energy saving. And then in a few seconds later, colleague will join, and then you will see what is ongoing in the zone further down. But you see here an absolute clear bordering, and the sensor is exactly, you discover here probably here on the left-hand side top.
So
there is no colleague, okay, in that area, light is off. So now my colleague comes across and is walking here along, okay, and then it passes now to the next zone and now to the next zone. You see it's absolutely accurate, the detecting area. Okay, we left the, let's say, the delay time really short, specifically for that video. You discover here on top that this light zone where nobody is getting seated now, so that he started again to dim down, to switch off finally. So you see how perfect this works finally. and the highest degree, and for that purpose we did another setup, which is, we call it aura, the aura feeling, so the aura light control. So two people are meeting now in a corridor, one from left, one from the right hand side. You see the light lights up, the light heading to the two people is softly going on. You discover here, so the light is going down softly, and then they are working across to each other. So you see how perfect this fits, this works, and you see step by step the light is going off. Okay? So just to give you a reasonable, good expression, so what is the power finally of this new optical presence sensor from THEBEN? I kept it short and I kept it brief today in order to respect the reasonable requirements from the KNX Association. But if you want to learn more about our products, so please always welcome to visit us. We do have on our webpage THEBEN/service English training courses. You will find the heading webinars, which we are giving regularly. And if you have missed one of these webinars, so there is further down at the same page, you will have our Mediathek, where you can find the reasonable different recordings. Hopefully it was interesting for you, and I count on you. See us.